30 videos in 30 days, day 18. Today's video is part 2 of yesterday's question from Amanda, who was asking about how to create self-employment, how to move from her 9-to-5 job into doing energy work, for an example. So in yesterday's video, I talked about beginning to breathe life into it using your emotional, your energetic reasons and building blocks for why you want to do your own thing and what that represents, and beginning to focus on it, building the new thing rather than focusing on escaping the prison of your current circumstances. So once you have begun to identify what it is that you are building, and once you have begun your practice of focusing on it and breathing life into it and allowing it to come into form, there is going to come a moment when it will be time for you to step forward and begin to share what you're doing before it starts making you money, before you have the business license, before you have the blog, before you have the practice, before you have the brick and mortar store, and most likely while you are still employed in your day job. You're going to need to find a way to begin to share your experience and share what you're doing in whatever way that you can. And most often, this will not be a source of income initially. I'll share my own experience with you. So when I was working in my day job and I was working as a recruiter, and I knew that I was stepping forward into my practice in some way, but I didn't know how, I didn't know what that was going to look like, I had no clue of what the plan was going to be, one thing became very clear to me. Number one, that the work that I agreed to do in this lifetime, the path that I agreed to walk in this lifetime, I already knew what it was. On some level, I had already agreed to do this. Before I came into this incarnation called Andrew, I had already a very clear picture of, yep, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna be born here, I'm gonna have this experience, this is what's gonna happen, and then at some point in the early 2000s, or 2012 to be more specific, I'm gonna have an experience that's gonna wake me up and it's gonna be very clear that it is time for me to step forward. So I think the first thing is to understand and really begin to cultivate a belief that on some level you already know what it is you came here to do. So your job is not so much to figure out what it is and make it. Your job is to give it space to reveal itself to you and then to slowly bring it to life. And one of the ways that I started doing that was through my YouTube channel. Before I had a practice, before I really had clients, while I was still working full-time for somebody else, I started my YouTube channel just as a means to share my experience, because I thought, I don't know what's going on in my life. This is the craziest shit I have ever experienced, and I just need to share it because I know if I'm going through it, there has to be at least one other person that's going through that. And since one of the things that I had identified was helping people, was why I wanted to do this, I thought, well, maybe just sharing my story will help somebody. In the beginning, my YouTube channel was not even on my radar of like, this will become a pillar of my practice. I had no idea that eventually my YouTube channel would be one of the fundamental and primary ways that clients find me. In the beginning, I was very focused on how do I bring in the clients, how do I market, how do I advertise, how do I get myself out there? And my guides told me time and time and time again, Andrew, your job is not to find clients right now. Your job is to find a way to share your message and share your truth, and the clients will find you. And to this day, that still holds true. So what does that mean? What that means is that if energy work is what you're doing, or a cupcake shop is what you're building, start making cupcakes for people. Start finding bake sales that you can donate stuff to. Start bringing cupcakes to the office. Start, go to HR and find out the birthday list and say, hey, I would love to create cupcakes, and maybe you can work out an arrangement where HR, instead of spending $50 on a cake, they give you $50 to make cupcakes or whatever. Find a way to start offering your energy healing sessions in practice. That's what I first started doing. When I first started doing readings, I would say, okay, I got on Facebook and I was connected to some Facebook, spiritual Facebook groups, and I just started posting, hey, I'm at a point where I think it's time for me to start honing my gifts and practicing. So I am offering free sessions for 30 minutes or for donation or whatever. Are you interested? And I had a lot of people who were coming to me who were interested and willing to support me. And since I was very upfront about the fact that this is just practice, I'm still kind of figuring it out, I'm not gonna charge you because I don't even know really what it is that I'm doing yet, they were willing to show up for me and allow me to practice on them. And that was one of the ways that I began to develop my gifts. If you are a writer and one of your dreams is to write a book or to be employed as a writer, start a blog about your journey to becoming a writer. That's writing. So finding a way to step forward in service of the life that you came here to live. And this is what I know without a doubt. When we step forward in service of our gifts immediately turn around and return the favor. So rather than asking, oh my God, how do I build the plan? How do I make it a reality? Because that's so overwhelming. That's like trying to eat the elephant in one whole bite. Eat the elephant one bite at a time and ask, okay, today, how can I step forward in service? Okay, today, how can I share my passion for baked goods and cupcakes? Okay, today, how can I begin to share my story and my experience of being a writer? And as soon as you find a way to begin to share your gifts and funnel it into a tangible, real experience where you are stepping forward, it's in a sense saying, look, I may not have all the plans, I may not have all the details, but I am willing to step forward in service of it, even though I only have this much of the picture. At some point, there will be a time when it is time for the business plan. It is time for the marketing plan. It is time to look at the nuts and bolts of your business from that perspective. But oftentimes when we start off in that way, like saying like, oh my God, I'm gonna need $75,000 to open a bakery. How can I do that? And I just deflate myself and then I get so defeated because I don't even have $75 in the bank. No. Don't look at it from that perspective. Don't put the destination in front of you and then try to make yourself crazy trying to figure out how you're going to get there. Understand that as long as you continue to show up in whatever way you can and ask your business, ask your practice, what do you need from me to bring you into reality? And one baby step at a time, and over time it will continue to grow, it will continue to evolve, it will start to flourish, and it will continue to reveal itself to you. And then there will be a time for action. Then there will be time for a plan and signing a lease and getting a loan or whatever and building the website or whatever it is that you need. But first you need to get comfortable with doing what you say you want to do and find a way to start sharing your gifts, your cupcakes, your whatever it is, your vision, your writing, your music, your art, whatever it is, start it now. Here's a little PS. The beauty of having a job, even though it's a job that you may not like, is that it gives you the freedom to do what you really want to do before it becomes the thing that is supposed to support you. So before you hang all this pressure on how is my practice going to support me and pay my mortgage and feed my kids, girl, you'll get there. That's like trying to pick out your china pattern on the first date. Just begin to show up in whatever way you can and do what you love and do what you really want to do and that you hope someday will eventually support you. And as you show up, find a way to share it now before it makes you any money, before you need it to make you any money. That just relieves the pressure and gives you a way to begin to do it right now. Thank you so much for the question. I hope this helps.